Hello friends, welcome to my video. In this video, we are going to see about sources of infection. At first, we are going to see what is an infection. The lodgement and multiplication of a parasite in or on the tissues of a host is the infection. That is, an invasion of the body by pathogenic microorganisms or parasites. One important point to be noted is that most infection do not cause disease. Next, we are going to see what is an infectious diseases. Infectious diseases or diseases caused by pathogenic microorganisms. Infectious diseases occurs as the result of interactions between pathogens and the host. Microorganisms that are capable of causing disease are called pathogens. All infectious diseases begins at some surface of the host, that is, external surfaces like skin or internal surfaces like mucous membrane. In order to cause disease, pathogens must be able to enter the host body attached to specific host cells. It must resist host defenses and multiply on or in the host tissues. And it must cause damage on those tissues. Each of these processes is complex. Entrance to the host typically occurs through natural orifices such as the mouth, eyes, nose, genital opening, or through wounds. The major types of infectious agents are bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa, helminths, and prions. Infectious diseases, also known as a transmissible disease or communicable disease. Up to this, we learned what is an infection and infectious diseases. Next, we are going to see about the sources of infection. Human beings, animals, insects, soil, water, and food are the various sources of infection. Before saying about the sources of infection in detail, we are going to see some important terms related to infection. Reservoir. A reservoir is any site where a pathogen can survive until it's transferred to a host. Some reservoirs are living, for example, humans, animals, birds, etc. And some reservoirs are non-living, example, food, air, soil, water, etc. Now let's see the sources of infection in detail. Human beings. The commonest source of infection for human beings are human beings themselves. Carriers. Humans are the reservoir for many bacterial infections. When a human harbors the pathogenic microorganisms without suffering from any ill effect because of it, then he or she is referred to as a carrier. If you would like more information about carriers, then please watch my video, Carriers and Types of Carriers. Animals. Many pathogens are able to infect both human beings and animals. Therefore, animals may act as a source of human infection. Infectious diseases transmitted from animals to human beings are called zoonoses. Zoonotic diseases may be bacterial, viral, fungal, etc. Insects. Blood-sucking insects plays an important role in transmitting many pathogens to human beings. The diseases so caused are called Arthropod borne diseases, and the insects that transmit infections are called vectors. Example, mosquitoes, ticks, mites, flies, fleas, and lice. Transmission may be mechanical or biological, and the vectors are called mechanical vectors and biological vectors respectively. A good example of mechanical vectors is domestic fly, which mechanically transmit typhoid bacilli. Example for biological vector is mosquito, which transmit malaria. Biological vectors transmit infection only after the pathogen has multiplied in them sufficiently or has undergone a developmental cycle. Soil. Some pathogens are able to survive in the soil for very long periods. For example, spores of tetanus bacilli, which remain viable in the soil for several decades and serve as the source of infection. Soil also serves as the source of fungal and parasitic infections. Soil transmitted helminth infections are among the most common infections worldwide and affect the poorest. They are transmitted by eggs present in human feces, which in turn contaminate soil in areas where sanitation is poor. Roundworm, hookworm, and whipworm are the main species infecting people. Finally, we are going to see about food and water. Foodborne diseases are usually transmitted through fecal contaminated food or water. The presence of pathogens in food may be due to external contamination or due to pre-existent infection in meat or other animal products. Water may act as the source of infection either due to contamination with pathogenic microorganisms or due to the presence of aquatic vectors. Before concluding, I would like you to remember these key points. Infection is the lodgement and multiplication of a parasite in or on the tissues of a host. Infectious diseases are diseases caused by pathogenic microorganisms. Sources of infections are human beings, animals, insects, soil, food, and water. And that brings us to the end of this video. And see you soon in my next video. Thank you, friends.